Hi, and good evening, and good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are watching this pre-record for Thfc Till I Die, your home of Tottenham, past, present, and a very exciting future as we head towards the biggest game of the season. And Philip, it really is the first game we look for when the fixtures come out. It is the first thing we look for when we're in any cup competition. Are we going to get them? Are we going to get them ones down the road? They are the Arsenal South London club of the year, who are not even a proper North London club, by the way, who bought their way into the league, who used bribery, brown paper bags. And Philip, that's how the history's gone ever since. This is the history of the North London derby. And I tell you what, they're a bit of scumbags down there, aren't they?
Well, the full title is Woolwich Arsenal, and if you look at the map of London, Woolwich is in South London, the other side of the Thames. So that's what it should be. That's what I wish they'd go back there, because they're like a lingering smell around North London at the minute. But one thing I would like to do, for just once in the Premier League, if we actually get our first game of the season against Arsenal at our place, it's always at their library.
Yeah,
and that's a bit unfair, but we've come to get used to it.
Yeah, hang on, Philip. Hang on. I just got to hang on. I've just got to do something here. Sorry. Hang on. Hang on. Just looking at that now. Oh, there's a goal. Arsenal. Shh, you can't say anything. There you go. That's an Arsenal fan on Sunday.
Oh, right, okay.
That's an Arsenal fan most weeks. I went on to very quickly. I went on to the Armory TV and just put it in there, plain as punch, Philip. That what North London is white and always will be white. It will never be red.
Yeah. No,
but
never.
We are going through the years, Philip. We are going through the history. Your first North London derby that you could ever remember?
Oh God. I think the first one of any real consequence was 1971 when they came to our place and won the league double, which was a sickener. And we finished third in the league that year. For them to come down to our place and win the league was an absolute kick in the teeth. It took me a while to get over that one. So, but there were other ones, but that's the one that really counted.
We were in contention for the league that year, weren't we? We were 10 years on from the double.
We finished third and we won the League Cup. And,
we could have.
We qualified for the. Sorry.
We could have done the double again, the League Cup and the League double.
We didn't, but at least the following year we got we won the UEFA Cup. So it was a good time to be a Spurs fan. And at that stage we were the club that was getting into Europe more than them. So, but let's just they're like what you get. They're like an when you're walking down the street and you step in a bit of dog poo.
Yeah,
it's an annoyance. You scrape it off your foot and go and get on with life.
They always remind me of your annoying little brother. Jesus will not leave you alone. We've all got an annoying little brother. But anyway, Philip, this is the history show. We are going to go back through the ages. So here we go. This is the head-to-head, Philip, Tottenham-Arsenal, or Arsenal-Tottenham. The head-to-head, and they played 69 times in the Premier League. 26 wins for Arsenal, 19 at home and 7 away. We've had a total of only 18 wins, Philip. 15 at home and only 3 away, and 25 draws. Does that sort of head-to-head surprise you, Philip? Arsenal have been more dominant in the Premier League era, more than the First Division era. But are you surprised Arsenal have to hop a hand in the head-to-head?
To be honest, probably not really, because they had Arsene Wenger as a manager for how long? A load of years, and he was very successful. Whereas we were going through managers like changing our socks, so that's probably why. They had continuity, we didn't. And
we had Christian Gross.
Well, that's the thing. What do you do with a man with a tube ticket? No, it doesn't surprise me that, but okay, that's all in the past now. I'm looking for Austin to change that around. I want to see us get a double over Arsenal this season. I want us to do the double over.
Yeah, and we are going to go into that, Philip. Look, last season, it wasn't a great time to be a Spurs fan. Let's be fair. Look, the first game, the Emirates Stadium. I mean, that was just a shit show. That was a team given up. That was a Tottenham team that didn't care. And then of course we
Other
lose
game
to them.
was
Pardon?
both games are the same. Both
Yeah.
games are the same. That's it.
Did you feel at that time? I said it earlier in Newsbeat, Philip. Did you feel it means more to the fans then than it did to them group of players that were in that squad for them 2 games?
Yeah. Well, that group of players, yeah, possibly, because let's face it, they didn't have to go into work on the Monday morning and face a load of Arsenal fans jeering at them and making fun of
No.
them, whereas we did. And all of Arsenal fans were quick enough to text us and WhatsApp us that evening with a "ha ha, we beat you again." Whereas
Yeah.
the players can slope off to their nightclubs and their fancy restaurants and
Mm.
not giving a second thought. So yeah, now I think it's a changed situation this season. I think the players that are
Oh, I
going there next Sunday have it in them to really, really give Arsenal a severe kick in the arse and beat them.
now out of them 2 games, Philip, the 3-1 defeat, of course, of the Emirates, and then the 2-0 defeat at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Do you feel that was that more Conte got decisions wrong in them 2 defeats? Or do you feel it was just a combination of Conte, the players? Mind you, in that 3-1 defeat, Philip, we did have Richarlison sent off. Sorry,
Yeah.
wrong
Mm.
thing. We did. So,
Uh, I don't know. I mean, those type of games I try and blot out of my mind. I try to remember the good parts of the season, and there weren't that many that season. So I try to blot those games out. Now being down to 10 men at their place was hard enough to win with 11. Never mind with 10, so that was gone. But I did think we would do better at home. But the problem at
yeah.
home, but that was the time in January, wasn't it,
Mm,
where things were just starting to unravel with Spurs. With
yeah.
Conte, and I think they got us at a good time for them and a bad time for us,
Yeah. I mean,
because
yeah, it was Philip. And of course, the 3-1 defeat, Hugo's mess, complete
yeah,
cock up.
yeah,
Um,
oh yeah. I mean, what can you do? You can't legislate against things like that. My only worry about the next Sunday, I know this is a history show, but next Sunday is we've an awful lot of players making their debut in North London derbies.
yeah.
Now, it depends how they react. I'm hoping they'll react the right way, but it's always a bit of a worry that when you've got new blood coming in that hasn't experienced this before, because they're going to have to run the gauntlet of the Arsenal fans.
I don't think it's going to bother them, Philip. I think it'd be more.
Hope not.
I,
I
I,
hope not. You
I
don't
don't
know
think
till the day,
yeah,
don't you? You won't know until the day. We really won't know until the day. Just
it's
hope they'll
like
be all right.
yeah. I mean, I'm going to use the example. You look at Sol Campbell coming back to Tottenham for the first time, um, as an Arsenal player and running the gauntlet. Then it didn't bother him. I know he played in
Yeah,
North London
because he
derbies,
played
but
in the
yeah,
matches before, Dermot. He knew what was coming. He
but
played
the
in
thing,
those games before. These guys haven't,
yeah.
which is a bit of a difference.
I don't think so. I think they won't bother them, Philip. I think that Ange won't let them bother them. We know Ange is managed in the biggest derby of them all, the Old Firm derby. We talked about it
Yeah.
earlier. We know he will not let them. How do you think the likes of Bill Nick and Keith Birkinshaw back in the day, even Terry Neal? I mean, how did Bill Nick see the Tottenham Hotspur Arsenal North London derby? Did he take it seriously? Or do you think over the years since you started watching Tottenham that the rivalry has got more and more intense as the decades have gone on?
Bill Nicholson took a pre-season friendly like it was a World Cup final. So if he didn't take the Arsenal game seriously, it's a serious problem. Of course he did. Absolutely. All managers take that Arsenal game seriously
Mm,
because they know it means so much to the fans. And Ange although he's a newcomer to it as well, he'll know the history of this. He'll know what's expected of the team. And
yeah.
but again, I'm just a little concerned that some of them might just freeze on the day. You can talk all you like in the dressing room. It's when you get out on the
Mm,
pitch, it's how they react. But then again, Arsenal have a few newbies as well, so they could be the
they
same. So
have. Mm.
it could just be
I,
it could be a bit of a nervous game for the first 20 minutes till everybody settles down.
yeah. I mean, you look at the games over the years, Philip, and you look at the rivalry and the intensity of it. I mean, of course, we go back to 91, beating them in the FA Cup semi final, stopping them doing the double. You go back to um, 81, 82, beating them in the third round of the FA Cup. Um, you look at the Bill Nick years, then you look at the Terry Neal years, the Keith Birkinshaw years, and you go through the ages, Philip. Do you feel that it's always been that there's always been a needle from day one with Tottenham and Arsenal? There's always been that. It goes back to 1919 where Arsenal bought the way into the league, basically. Now, nothing can ever be proven, but we know the story, Philip. You've got stuff written down, and I don't know if you had written that down and what's the story behind that back in 1919. But I mean,
it was a Spurs. It was Arsenal were it was a relegate thing, and Arsenal got reprieved, and Spurs got relegated instead, and they came up. It was they bought the way in. They bought it. I have the story written down somewhere. Again, it's such a what would you say, a horrible story from a Spurs point of view. I kind of blotted out a bit, but it was skullduggery by Arsenal, and we've never forgiven them for it. Now, the thing about I'd say, I guarantee you, there's maybe one or two of the players on the Spurs team that even know that happened. They won't care about that. It's what happens next Sunday is really what they're they're worrying about. What happened 100 years ago.
It matters to us, Philip. It matters to the fans.
It does matter to us, yeah. Oh, yeah, but I'd say too, there are maybe a lot of new Spurs fans coming through that don't know the history.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Oh, we don't like Arsenal. Well, why don't we like Arsenal? It's because of 1919, you know.
Yeah.
Now I'll get a quick resume of it here.
Yeah.
Just to refresh my memory as much as anything else, because I guess quite a while ago I read about this. Just.
And also, Philip, look, while you're looking that up, look, for me, the North London derby is everything for me. It's the biggest game of the season for me. It's you beat your London rivals. Chelsea, West Ham, yeah, they're big games. This is the biggest of them all. This is the game that I will rarely be upset if I'd be sad and upset if we lose.
Yeah.
It really pisses me off. And it's the only game that does, Philip. If we lose to Chelsea or West Ham, I'm annoyed. But this one, it really gets to me because you don't want to lose to the rivals. I mean, have you found the article you're looking for? Yeah, go on.
I got a simplified version of it. That's a little bit too complex. Hold on. Right, here we are. Right, in 1919, Arsenal were in the second division, right? Spurs were also. So Henry Norris, who was the chairman of Arsenal at the time, he manoeuvred his club into one of the most unlikely positions of all time. At the Football League's annual general meeting, Norris argued that Arsenal deserved to be promoted because of their contribution to footballing history. Right? Now, we'll all argue about that. Now, I'll get more of it now.
First non-league side to ever win an FA Cup. What did Arsenal do? Yeah. Probably was still scratching their ass at that time.
The contribution to history now, come on. Now, here's the rest of it here now. And it was a case of, it came after the First World War. See, the league was suspended during the First World War. And after the 14-15 season, and in that season, Chelsea and Spurs have been relegated, right? The war came on when the war was finished. They tried to increase the league up to 22 teams, and who would be included. So Chelsea and Tottenham were the two teams that went down, but they thought they should remain in the league as the two extra teams, if you know what I mean. So then Arsenal came along, and so Henry Norris was pushing hard for his club to be included. Now they'd only finished sixth in the second division. So they're now the only team to ever finish sixth in the position and get promoted, right? So Norris was a Conservative MP, right? He was mayor of Fulham at the time. He's very well connected.
There you go. Says it all, really.
When the votes were cast in Manchester in 1919, after an initial counter proposal by West Bromwich Albion to allow Chelsea to be included in the 21-team First Division, only 6 teams voted against the expansion to 22. Chelsea's inclusion was unanimous, but Arsenal got the second place. It was not even close. Arsenal received 18 votes and Tottenham got 8. So Tottenham stayed down and Arsenal went up, and the war started again, basically. And it's been going since then. So they had a crooked chairman who got them promoted, even though they finished 6th. Now, can you imagine that happening today?
Can I just add to that? Was he the early version of Boris Johnson? Because he was a Tory as well. Is he like the early incarnation of Boris Johnson?
Yeah, probably was. He probably was.
and Donald Trump, your favorite
Anyway,
mate.
I hope he's spinning in his grave about 4 o'clock next Sunday.
I hope he is, and I hope he hits his head and all. Philip, this was the first ever North London derby done in Tottenham Marshes on the 19th of November, 1887. It was a friendly. It was at home. We did play in the Marshes. We did win, but for unknown scorers. But apparently, after 75 minutes, it got abandoned for bad light. Now, I've heard another rumor that it got abandoned due to fighting, which wouldn't surprise me one iota. So I think they've gone with the nicer comment of bad light. I heard it got stopped for fighting. Now I also heard Dave Harris and you and me were there, and we started a ruckus. So that's what I'm hearing. But
I heard Arsenal got thick and they owned the ball and they walked home with the ball, took the ball with them. That's why it finished early.
Yeah. Also, Arsenal were supposed to pay for the ESB, which is the electricity, and they never paid their bill. So
there was no one at the time. I'll give him a pass on that one.
Oh dear. But we did win the first ever North London derby. They can't even take that away from us.
1887, anyway. And we were a non-league team at that stage.
We were. When were Arsenal formed? Was it 1889?
Or they weren't formed. They were created in a test tube sometime around Frankenstein. It was a byproduct of the creation of Frankenstein that created Arsenal.
So basically, Dracula and Frankenstein created Arsenal. Is that how Arsenal came into it?
No, not so much Dracula. Dracula's all in one piece. Frankenstein is bits of bits of everybody. That's what Arsenal are. Just a bit of this and a bit of that.
So basically, Arsenal were the first test tube baby.
Well, yeah. God help us. Now,
Philip, I'm sorry if people can't read this. I hope you can. It may look bigger on your TVs, on your whatever you're using, but this is the whole record, Philip, of every game we played against Arsenal. Look, the Premier League, only 15 wins out of 62 games we've won. The League One, we only won. Now that's pretty close. We won 40. They won. We won and lost 40 and 46. Anything there that springs out to mind, Philip?
Too many Arsenal under W. Too many Arsenal wins. That's what stands to mind there.
Yeah,
especially in the Premier League. Okay, the Football League was a little bit more even. There's only
where the W, Philip? Where the W, Arsenal or the L's? This was off Tottenham's history.
Oh yeah, but okay. Still only 6 in the Premiership. 40 or the first division. 40 against 46. So that's not too bad. For the FA Cup, we've actually 2 against 4. Yeah, not too bad there. Football League Cup again, but they've won more than us in every flipping competition. That's the funny. That's the sad thing.
They haven't. The Jubilee Trust.
We're the Southern League or something. Yeah, but I'm talking proper leagues.
The Mine Series and the Jubilee were unbeaten against them, and hallelujah! Philip's going to do a knee slide in a minute. Yeah. Now, modern competitions, the FA Charity Shield, 1 draw. We shared that. Right. So in total, Philip, out of 275 games, we've won 99, we've drawn 65, lost 111, we've scored 400 and conceded 432. Yeah. So it's not a bad record.
It's going to take us 5.5 seasons to get level that up. Then, 6 seasons.
Now, Philip, this next thing is really. Now, this is the Tottenham Hotspur Premier League against Arsenal. Now, forget Harry Kane, right? He's out there on his own, the leader goal scorer for North London derbies. Any other guy? I mean, for me, that springs out for me is Danny Rose's first ever goal, an only goal in the North London derby. Giannis Kabul, who scored the winner when we last beat them at the Emirates in 2010. Any other players that spring to mind, Philip? That sort of go. I didn't know he scored against Arsenal.
John Hendrick. God, he didn't play for us very long. He scored twice.
Yeah.
Toby Alderweireld, Paul Allen, Popescu. Klinsmann only got the 1. I suppose Darren Anderton. He was a long time playing with him. He got 3. So, in other words, we've scored 77 goals, and Harry Kane has got 14 of them. Ooh, nice. Canute, yeah. I'm looking for some of the players that played like Jerry Booth and what's Gary Doherty. None of them managed to get a goal
Well,
against
Lewis
Arsenal.
Saha got one, which I completely forgot about under Kai
So
Walker.
right, yeah, that's what
Eric
sounds
Dyer,
right. The
Moon
Mello only
Boots.
got one.
Yeah,
The Mello only got
Moon
one.
Boots got one as well, as you can see.
See that? Yeah,
Yeah,
Stefan
he
Everson, Tim
I
Sherwood. My
don't
God,
talk.
Tim Sherwood.
What do you reckon to his comments, Philip?
He's an idiot.
He is an idiot.
He's an idiot. Idiot.
Mm,
He's sore because we sacked him all those years ago.
yeah.
He's about he's about as relevant as Paul Merson. That's irrelevant.
That says a lot about Paul Merson. Now, this is Spurs' longest losing streak. Philip, go through that quickly.
Jesus, 10 years and 1 month we went without beating them. Played 24, lost 13, drew 11, won nothing, scored 32, and they're in 47. Now, the only saving grace is they didn't beat us on 11 occasions. But mind you, we didn't beat them either. So, 13 wins.
Yeah, the only win we had against them, Philip, was in 2008, which was the League Cup. This is just Premier League. This is just Premier League. When I saw that streak today, it is I think it's the longest losing streak in North London history.
It's a streak of misery.
It's 10 years it took us to beat Arsenal.
10 years going on. The one lording over that stage, Like you look around the time of that's the 2010. Harry Redknapp came in 2008, and it was that 3-2 well, that was November 2010. We must have beat them in the season before in April, because I know the win in at 3-2 was in Arsenal. That was in November, I think, 2010. It was terrible. My God, it must have been embarrassing for the players, really, to live that down.
I mean, one of the matches in there, Philip, I'll never forget, was the 4-4 when Harry Redknapp just took over. I think he just third game in charge at Tottenham.
That's right. David Bentzi's goal.
Yeah. Wonder what happened to that fella. Well, look, that's a bit of the history looking back through the years, Philip. Look, we all know how much the North London means to us. Now, look, Philip, who's going to win the midfield battle? Who do you think's going to be the main players? Look, are you looking at Basuma? Are you looking at Papa Sarr? Look, for me, I think this is game for Højbjerg for me to be brought in. I think Højbjerg can do a job. What?
Yeah.
Oh, James Maddison. Where do you see the midfield going in this game?
I know I hate to be negative, right? But I have a feeling we might sacrifice one of the front players to put an extra midfielder in here on this game, because like it is going to be a bit of a cauldron for the new lads, and you've got Arsenal with the likes of Declan Rice, and the Arsenal do have a reasonably good midfield. Okay, so I think we're going to have to match up with them. We go in with two defensive midfielders and one attacking one. I think they're going to outrun us. So I think possibly we might stick in Højbjerg, as you say, right? Go three in the middle with Maddison sitting just slightly in front behind Son and Kulusevski to start with, or Son and Solomon, whatever way they want to do it. I don't want to be negative, but I'd rather be negative and keep defend the defense a bit more than be too open and have Arsenal cut through us in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, look for me, Philip. Also, I don't think we should take away from the attacker. I understand when you're saying we shouldn't be overrunning midfield, but are we gonna, if he tinkers too much, would that unbalance us? We look what happened at Fulham.
One player.
Yeah,
one change. That's all. And what you do then, if the game's going better as time goes on, then bring on an extra attacker.
Yeah,
it's going to be an interesting team selection. Although I think in the heel of the hunt, you'd probably go the same as, because why change a winning team? But I'm only saying, I just be a little bit cautious. I don't want us to get off to a bad start like we did against Burnley. Now, it's easier coming back against Burnley. Not so easy coming back against Arsenal if you go behind.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Look, look. So you would start with Højbjerg in there. Who would you sacrifice? Which player would you say, right, I'm
It
sorry,
has to be
son, you're not
Sarr.
playing to.
It has to be
Yeah,
Sarr. I mean, you couldn't sacrifice Basuma. You know, you need to have
no.
Basuma in there.
Mm.
Sorry,
Yeah,
not Sarr. No, sorry, I'm getting it wrong. No. I'd sacrifice one of the front men, and
so will you
keep Sarr, Basuma, and Hoiberg in the middle
so
with
are you
Madison in
look
front of it.
we are gonna go. Me and Philip are gonna do another pre-record when we go over the team who we think is gonna start on Saturday later in the week. Are you more looking at an on? I mean, we got here an unchanged for Arsenal or not, but also you want to make a change. So do you want to
Well, I'm not
play?
talking mass changes. I'm talking one change, maybe. That's it.
Yeah.
I
So
wouldn't change the
would you change?
defense.
Would you change the formation then to sort of like a 4-5-1 then sort of formation? Is that what you're looking at?
I would do a kind of a 4. How to put this 4-3-2-1. Sorry, 4-3-1-2.
Yeah.
4-3-1-2.
So would you put Højbjerg in the front of the back four and just leave him there as a holding man and then have
Like
Basuma and
a diamond
Maddison?
in midfield, like a diamond
Yeah.
shape in the midfield. Madison at the
Uh,
point, and Højbjerg
yeah.
at the back. The two boys in the middle, and then the two forwards up front.
Yeah. So who would you play, Sonny and Richie? Would you?
I would play any of them. Sonny and Richie, Sonny and Kulu, Sonny and Solomon, Kulu and Solomon.
Yeah.
Kulu and Richie. It could be anyone. Could be anyone.
Yeah.
I'd say
But
I get a feeling Richie might get the nod on Sunday because of his.
I think he will. I think he will. Well, look, as I said, me and Philip will come up later in the week with our team that's going to start Saturday, and Philip will go through all the formations. And what we probably will do is pick two. I'm going to pick my 11. Philip will pick his 11 of formation, and we'll bring them both up, and we'll see where we've differed or where we're not. But Philip, look, we cannot end this stream with Tottenham Arsenal with probably one of the most greatest ever people to wear the lily white shirt of Tottenham Hotspur, to lace the grass of White Hart Lane, to lace the team of any team in the Premier League. Of course, it's Mr. Jimmy Greaves, who sadly passed away 2 years ago today. You've asked there very quickly what would he think accountable? Very quickly, Philip, I got this stat for Jimmy Greaves. Now, Jimmy Greaves played 357 goals, I think, out of 516 games.
Yeah.
That's a goal every 0.69 games.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a better record than Dixie Dean, who went, 50 goals one season for Everton. Gordon Hodgson, Alan Shearer as well, who is the all-time Premier League goal scorer. How important, Philip, very quickly before we just end off, I've got a couple of questions on this because you've seen him play. How important is Jimmy Greaves, to the North London derby, but more importantly, how important is Jimmy Greaves to Tottenham history?
He is, up to Harry Kane beating his record last season. Jimmy Greaves was the greatest goal scorer in Tottenham history. And he's still my favourite player that ever played for Spurs and will be. I don't see anybody else coming along. No. I watched, just was waiting for you to come on there, I watched the video of Spurs versus Manchester United. It was a match of the day in 1965. We beat them 5-1. And all they showed was the clips of Jimmy Greaves, what he did. Do you know what he was like? He was more like, I know he was a striker, but he did the dropping deep routine as well, and was also a brilliant provider. Absolutely, he made as many goals as he scored, but his finishing was lethal, and he was just one of a kind. And I have to laugh. One particular funny bit when Man United had a free kick and Bobby Charlton was lining up to take it. Jimmy Greaves was standing right behind him, going like that, pointing at the boys where to go in the defense. Bobby Charlton's looking around, who's there? Jimmy Greaves conducting the orchestra from behind Bobby Charlton. He was a character. He was arguably the best player ever to pull on the Spurs shirt, and that is saying something.
I mean, look, for me, being a younger generation, Philip, I've not seen. Remember Jimmy Greaves on Saints and Gravesy on the Saturday afternoon, and growing up with the television version of Jimmy Greaves, and then looking on YouTube at the footballer of Jimmy Greaves. It's mind blowing what that. Bill Nick always said he never hit the ball, he passed it. He said it. If you ever watched 100 Years of Tottenham Hotspur, he was telling people like Ozzy Ardiles or Chris Hughton or Steve Archibald, anyone that would listen, Jimmy passed the ball. He passed it into the net. And Harry Kane was the same. Harry never belted it. Harry passed it into the net. Look, we all know Harry's our leading goal scorer ever. But do you think
Hmm.
Jimmy Greaves technically was I know it's different eras and different pitches and different times, Philip. Was Jimmy Greaves technically better than Harry Kane?
If Jimmy Greaves was playing on today's pitches, that goal tally of his would be almost 50% higher.
Yeah.
But he played on the hard pitches or the boggy pitches, the old
Mm,
heavy boots, the ball that was like heading a piece of lead when you headed
mm.
it. And he still scored so many goals. He could go to Christmas to come at once. He was playing on today's pitches, so
Do,
he would. If he was playing now, he'd have a record for Spurs that would never, ever, ever be beaten for goal
do,
scoring
do you
because
think
he just
Harry
was that.
Kane? Yeah, but do you think Harry Kane is the reincarnation of Jimmy Greaves?
Yeah,
If
well,
you
the
know what I
different
mean?
styles of player, the different styles, um, different style of player. He's certainly the best striker we've had since Jimmy Greaves, that's for sure.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed too, like that they were both brilliant penalty takers.
Mm,
Jimmy Greaves never hit the penalty hard though; he just rolled it into the net.
mm,
You give the goalie 9 times out of 10, the goalie drive the wrong way for Jimmy Greaves
mm.
penalty. Just roll it into the net, whereas Harry
Yeah.
goes for power. Um, but I think Harry would be the first to admit that he would not have that record if if there was an equal playing pitch, if they were playing on the same type of pitches. Harry would never ever beat that record.
No, no. I mean, for me, Jimmy Greaves will always has and always will be the greatest player ever put on the lily white shirt. I mean, there's Philip. We can go through the years. Glenn Hoddle, you probably has got a rank there. Steve Perriman,
Yeah, oh yeah.
but I think for striker wise, he is head and shoulders even above Aaron. And I know people are going to say in comments, Dermot, you're talking a lot of cobblers, different eras, different time. Jimmy Greaves for me he everywhere he went, he scored goals. He
He
did it
scored
at
in every
Chelsea,
debut. Every
yeah.
debut he made, every club he went to, he scored on his
Mm.
debut, which is quite unique
And the
for
biggest crime,
Chelsea, AC Milan, Spurs, West
yeah,
Ham,
the biggest crime
England.
for me that he didn't get to play in the World Cup final, and it took him
Well, that was
20 or
one. That
30
was one
years
of the
to
main
get it.
to get the medal. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was one of the reasons he went on the slippery slope he went on. It
Mm,
affected him very badly. Because for anyone that might not know that far back, in 1966, there was no substitutes allowed. You played with the
mm,
11. You finished with the 11 you started with, and
mm.
also there was only the starting 11 got medals. Which
Yeah.
imagine that's horrible. Nowadays, nearly the guy that brings up in the water and the pitch gets a medal, but not in those
Mhm.
days. And he had to fight for years to get one along with the other substitutes or
Mm.
other reserves, as they were called. So that's it.
That's it. But look, Philip, it is the North London derby on Sunday. This is the history. I mean, look, we bring up the head-to-heads again today, but before we finish off this history stream. And really, it's not a great record, is it, Philip, in Premier League history?
No,
But
no, it's not.
can you see that 18 becoming 19 on Sunday?
Yes, I can. Absolutely. I can actually see it. And I think this is a great chance. This is one of our best chances. We're going in there with a
Yeah.
team that's on the up, that's vibrant, that's
Mm.
mad to get back on the pitch, that fears nobody, and we'll die for the rest of the players on the pitch. So yes,
Yeah.
this is the day we're going to beat them.
Yeah.
Sure, Sunday's the day we're going to beat them.
Well, we hope you enjoyed this history stream going down memory lane. Before we are going to do more streams of these actually with teams during the season, probably Chelsea or West Ham. We're going to go through the years because I've enjoyed this stream, Philip. I've enjoyed doing this,
Yeah,
and I
yeah, it's
like
nice to look
looking
back.
back. It is,
Even
and
though some of the results we're talking about aren't favourable, but
no,
all we can do is say, listen, we are the team. We are the North London is white, regardless of the results. That's what it'll always be for us.
yeah. Well, we are back tomorrow at 4. I'm back with Mia. Philip's having a day off. Well, Philip is wandering, going on his travels somewhere, doing his bit for government and for Michael Collins
Mm,
and the country. And
it's no pleasure
and
trip, I can tell you. Anyway.
but anyway, he's doing this bit. He has to be honest where Philip is going. He's doing a bit of funding for the for our new political party. Me and Philip are going to start up, and it's called the
Oh,
Raven Looney Party. So that's what he's doing tomorrow. Me and Mia are on at 4 with more build up to the North London derby. Thursday, me and Philip are back. Me and Philip are going on to an Arsenal channel Thursday evening, which should be fun. So please all come over. It will be on our
Hey, Dermot,
channel
can I
as
ask you
well.
one question? Do we need
Yeah.
to get any injections before we go over there?
No, you're grand. You're
Oh, that's
covered.
okay. Just checking.
You're covered.
Just checking.
Uh,
Yeah.
I've already
Didn't want to catch
started the wound. I've already started the wound up as winding them up as well. I went in there to not just put little thing. North London were white and always will be white. So I've already started the little wind up already.
Good.
Because then we're back then on Thursday with Newsbeat and the debate show. Of course, we're on the Arsenal Funnel. Friday, we're back with Newsbeat and the podcast, the Cockerel podcast. Myself, Philip, and Dave Harris, where we're going to talk about our favourite North London derbies and what does this game mean to us as fans. Saturday, we're back with Around the Grounds and the rugby watch along, and then on Sunday, while Philip is away. God, no, Philip, I feel sorry for you, Philip, for this. I really feel for you. I
Yeah,
really
they
do.
pick the moments, don't they? Family.
But
Anyway.
don't you worry. Dermatron will have you covered. I'm going on to an Arsenal channel, which will be broadcast here on Thfc till I die, to do a watch along with them. So God help me. That's all I'm going to say. But I've got my sheet prepared when we win. But whatever you do, enjoy the rest of your evening or afternoon whenever you watch this. Come on, you Spurs. We are going to win. Philip, look very quickly. Score prediction for Sunday?
2-1 Spurs.
I'm going for 4-1.
Oh, well done.
Just because I feel like it. I know Eric Dyer, so a double celebration. Come on, you Spurs, in the big Ange we trust.